Petty Sports, the podcast brought to you by KINGZ Broadcasting Studios. It's your boy, the host. They call me Famous Fees. They also call me Facts. I'm here live with my man, Adam. Holla at him.
You already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Petty Sports, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. You could have been anywhere else in the world right now, but you are live with us. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather. The sinuses might not agree, but I think the takes and the fans will tonight, man. We got a loaded show. Call in 678-871-9602. Season 2 is hot and ready for anybody wanting to call in. Y'all already know the deal with social media. It's a loaded show. Fees, do the honors, please, my good friend, and tell us what we have to bless the people with tonight.
Oh, the show is always loaded as usual. We're going to hit you with a little NFL news because the NFL is always on and popping. We got the Final Four coming up starting in a couple of days. It's some actual NBA news to hit you with. You know, we got to talk about the awards. Who going to win what coming up shortly since we get into the end of the NBA season. We're going to cover the NFC South this week. We got another loaded versus battle for you because I know y'all been enjoying those. This week, we got the kick return specialist battle. Devin, Hester, Deion Sanders weigh in. It's a style battle, so y'all really going to enjoy that one. A couple more little segments for you. But as we tell you every week, man, get your popcorn ready, get you a good drink, get you a stick, take some notes, because it's about to go down. So man, we're kicking this thing off with NFL action. The NFL has officially announced that the overtime rules will be adjusted for the postseason only.
Wow.
Meaning now both teams will get a possession regardless of if the receiving team scores a touchdown on their first possession. But there's another nuance to this rule that I've recently been made aware of. If the team that receives the ball gets it and they go on a 12-minute long drive and eat up all the time in overtime, and the other team gets the ball back after this touchdown, they have more than 3 minutes left. Even though the quarter is 15 minutes, it'll go into a double overtime because they get unlimited time for that next possession. So I think that part is extra ridiculous. But what do you think about the new rule?
The new rule is definitely something that, you know, definitely is a day late and a dollar short. But, you know, when you look at it, and when it was originally changed, you know, people were saying, you know, they didn't like the sudden death and the fact that, you know, if both teams scored a touchdown on their first drives, any next score would have won, you know. So now the fact that you've got everything working out this way and, you know, people wanted it to move on from the sudden death and now going from – Fees, you might have to take over in a second, man. I'm definitely struggling here. Once it becomes sudden death from both teams scoring the touchdowns on the first drives, and then any next score wins for you, you know. And if the kicking team, actually, this is one that I thought that was kind of crazy. If the kicking team scores a safety on the receiving teams or the on the first possession of the game, they actually win. Fees, can you tag in for me for a second? I gotta definitely clear these nostrils, bro. I am struggling right now. Thank you so much.
I got you. So, man.
Thank you. My team.
Like this rule it's ridiculous on quite a few different levels. I mean, I've already broken down to you what the actual rule says, but let's just look at how this actually got there. It was a 29-3 vote among the 32 teams for them to actually pass this, which I thought was crazy. I mean, they needed 24. They almost got an overwhelming majority. The three teams that voted against it were the Vikings, the Bengals, and the Dolphins, which I wouldn't have guessed any of them if we were looking at who would have voted against this rule. But we just look at how this actually came to be. 32 overtime playoff games have occurred since the merger. 19 of those 32, both teams actually have gotten the ball. So this is about the 13 times that one of the teams did not. 12 of them have happened since 2001. The first one subsequently was the Tuck Rule game, but no one remembers it, because that part of the game, that was actually in regulation. The Patriots went on to win in overtime on a kick. It was a field goal. It was still sudden death at that point. When the rule really actually started to get looked at was back in 2008 in the playoffs. I mean, it was actually 2009, but the 2008 playoffs when Peyton Manning didn't get a chance to get another possession against the Chargers, then all of a sudden there was outcry because the beloved Peyton got ushered out of the playoffs without another possession. And then just the next year, it happened again to Aaron Rodgers against Arizona, and then Brett Favre. I think that was either the next day or it was in the same playoffs. But Brett Favre lost against the Saints, and that's when the extreme outcry happened, and that's when the first change of this rule came to be, where they then went from sudden death to if you only score a field goal, the other team gets another possession in an attempt to either tie or win the game. So, I mean, they changed the rule for Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Peyton Manning. And then we move forward. Since they've changed the rule to the field goal version, there have been 7 overtime playoff games, and of those 7, all of them were ended by a touchdown. It didn't even matter. They changed the little field goal rule, and every team was like, no, punch this ball in the end zone, and we're going to take it out.
Yep.
And all of those fan bases are crying, but, I mean, look at what actually happened. I mean, the quarterbacks first. Big Ben, twice A-Rod, Matt Ryan, Pat Mahomes, Drew Brees, and Josh Allen are the quarterbacks who lost, and subsequently the fan bases who had extreme issues with it. But look at what happened in those actual games. We had the Tebow walk-off touchdown to the late Demaryius Thomas. Like, so now we're going to give them another possession and be like, oh, that wasn't enough. Green Bay, they blew a 15-point fourth-quarter lead in the NFC Championship game and are crying about another possession. Maybe finish the damn game. That would probably be the way. A-Rod again against Arizona this time. He had a last-second Hail Mary to tie the game, and then they lost in overtime. It's like, you didn't even half deserve to be in overtime. No one's hearing that. The Falcons, Super Bowl 51, we don't need to rehash that. You already dealt with March 28th. They didn't need another possession. Get out of here. The Pats beat Kansas City on the road in the AFC Championship game, so all the Kansas City fans were crying because Pat Mahomes didn't get another possession. Like, you had home field advantage. You couldn't finish the game in regulation. Like, we do not feel sorry for you. Then we had Minnesota, Joe 75 yards in the Superdome with Kirk Cousins for a playoff win in overtime, and we're crying that Breeze didn't get the ball again? You lost to Kirk Cousins. I don't want to hear about it at all. Then just the last one, Buffalo tied the game. We're up with 13 seconds to go in regulations and somehow couldn't stop Kansas City from getting in the field goal range, and then you lost. It's like, hey, play some defense. Those teams did not deserve another possession. I'm not going for it. Like, it's real weak. It's very participation trophy-ish, in my opinion, to change the rule to be like, well, it's not fair. You got 60 whole minutes to win the game.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't care what happens. They should go back to sudden death. The games don't need to be that damn long. Now you're talking about they score, the other team gets a possession, plus unlimited time. That means the game could possibly go another 30 minutes past regulation. Yeah. You're talking about the safety committee, and we're worried about player safety. This goes completely against it. You're actually prolonging the game. I think it's ridiculous.
Right. I hear you on that. Appreciate you holding it down, Fee. Shout out to anyone that might have a flow names out there for you, boy, whatever it may be is their tech. I guess I'm falling a little short today. First time for everything, right? But now I feel you, Fees, and because I kind of used to feel the same way. It was like, all right, should we really extend the game? Because I get it. You can't wrap it up in regulation, right? These are professionals, and I've kind of always been on the point where I'm not with NFL ties. Let's actually get to the bottom of it. So then you kind of have to walk the fine line of, do you want it to be so cutthroat to where, okay, I'm just going to fall back on the, not really the excuse or the statement of you should have played defense, or am I going to flip it around to where both of these teams can go back and forth, but then again, like you said, it could take forever for these teams to actually be able to work it out. I'm glad, first and foremost, to get to the topic originally, I'm glad that they were able to resolve this, because we did just see, everybody's talking about the Chiefs and Bills. It's one of the best playoff games we've seen in a while, right? And it got, I don't know if I can really say it was resolved on a coin toss, because it was a great game. Like you said, the Bills gave it up at the end of regulation. And it really didn't take the Chiefs that long, to drive down the field and everything. But the fact that, you would still it for the postseason, I would like to see it for the regular season as well. Really because, the regular season has moments to where it is going to impact the postseason. Like, there's no doubt about that. And, why not do this for all NFL games? Again, you've got regular season games that impact playoff matchups, and you see massive overtime games every single year in the regular season that can impact the postseason. I know we won't see any more really amazing postseason games decided on a coin flip, but I don't think there's any excuses now for the postseason, really.
I mean, I don't think it should make its way over into the regular season either. I mean, I think it's really soft of the NFL to do that. Yeah. It's a gladiator game. They're not trying to extend games. It's like that's not even actually. Normally when they make moves that extend things for NFL, it's generally around money. They extend the season because they make more money. They expand the playoffs because there's more money involved in it. This right here, this is just pure crying fan bases and emotions. They don't need extra time. You played an entire 4 quarters worth of football, and now you're crying about the overtime rules. Win the game in regulation. Like, I have zero sympathy for anybody who has an issue with the overtime rules. If your team lost, they lost. It's like that sometimes. Like, at some point, you got to throw these dudes a bone. Like, man, just let it be what it is. I thought the 3-point, like, you get a field goal, and then the other team gets a possession because you didn't score a touchdown was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, now they made it even worse. You're just making the game extra long.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. Just like my man Tyrell Grimes said, it should be sudden death. Take it back to sudden death. I'm all the way for that. I don't like it one bit. Y'all try. Well, I see a lot of y'all are chiming in on it. It's a shame. See, my man said the notification for the show slapped him like Will Smith.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Hey, we like that. I guess we like that, right? That's massive energy. That's massive energy.
It's not. It wasn't me though. It was Adam. He looked at me. He made me do it.
Oh boy.
So man, we're gonna move on to the Final Four. We've got North Carolina and Duke matching up in the Final Four for the first time ever, which is crazy. As many championships as these schools have, I mean, 5 and 6 respectively, never have they met in the tournament, let alone the Final Four. And then we got number 2 Villanova and number 1 Kansas. But first, we're going to jump in to number 8 North Carolina versus the Duke Blue Devils, the Dukies, which y'all seem to have not known that they called them that.
Dukies. I still can't believe that.
Who you got winning this North Carolina matchup? They right up the street. The schools are 8 miles apart.
Yeah, this is going to be an amazing matchup. And, you know, the storyline really for this is you've got a UNC team who has really been trying to get back to they've really been trying to get back to what they were at just a couple seasons ago. And now the fact that you also have on the flip side, you have Duke, you have Coach K, him being so emotional, losing the last home game, and the fact that, you know, the entire fan base, the team, kind of everybody was freaking out when that last home game happened. And, you know, I hated to see that as well, but I knew stepping into the tournament, I had a lot of confidence in Duke. I actually picked them in one of my brackets to win, and I think Coach K is going to be able to pull off this W here for the Blue Devils. Now, you got to look at the fact that Duke is averaging 79.8 points per game in this tournament. As a college basketball team, they just hung 78 on Arkansas in the Elite Eight, and they're back on February 5th. They beat UNC by 20 points exactly, absolutely running away with it, 87-67. Now, you got to take a look at the fact that A.J. Green has really been key in the Arkansas and the February 5th UNC matchup as well, talking about for Duke, scoring 18 and 27 respectively in those 2 games. You also got Banchero as well, who leads the team in scoring with 17. And both of these guys are freshmen. You know, we talked about it with the fact that would Duke's young culture and kind of inexperience in a way with Coach K really be able to resolve things for them. And the youth did worry me with Duke. But Coach K obviously being a GOAT over there, and I think he'll be able to hold it down. Now, you look at the fact that UNC definitely has a star in Armanda Bacot, I think. Bacot, I'm not sure. I literally listened to the pronunciation before the show, but can't remember it here now. Put up 20 points and 22 boards against St. Peter's, so that was definitely major. You know, speaking on the UNC side here, the fact that 16.5 points per game and 12.8 boards on the season for him, so he's definitely a major star there. You got Brady Benek as well, who scored 20, and then you've also got Caleb Love, who added another 14 against St. Peter's. So this trio as well, not duo, combined for 65 against Duke back on March 5th. And they got guys who can score at will. There's no question about that. But I think Coach K wins here to advance to his 6th championship. The over-under is 151. You got Duke -4 here. I think he further cements his legacy, He already passed John Wooden for the most Final Four appearances with 13. But, you know, Wooden still does have 10 titles, so Coach K won't get him there. But I do think he gets to number 6, and I think he overall still wins the tournament. Still sticking with my pick there.
I mean, it's very possible, but I mean, this is the 3rd meeting between these 2 teams in just the past couple of months.
Right.
I mean, February 5th, Duke went to Chapel Hill, beat North Carolina by 20 points. And then what everyone remembers is Coach K's last game on March 5th, where North Carolina went to Cameron Indoor and beat Duke by 13 points in Coach K's very last regular season game. So I know Duke is really salty about the way Coach K went out. So I mean, this is going to be a game that's filled with hate on one side. Well, hate on both sides. I mean, North Carolina and Duke, they've always hated each other. But, I mean, you're looking at the way it went down. I mean, Duke was up by 2 at the half in Coach K's farewell regular season game in Cameron Indoor, and North Carolina outscored them by 15 in the second half behind 20-plus points from Love, Davis, Bacot, and Manek.
There we go.
All of them had 20-plus in the game. I mean, they got ran off the floor by 4 guys. They came out with a unit that just they could not stop them, which when I talked about that a week ago, Duke's defense really is the Achilles heel in the matchup. They match up well because, I mean, you see they split and both teams beat each other handily in their games. But Duke is favored by 4 points in this matchup. For me, the team is rallying behind Coach K just because it's his last run and they really want to send him off with a championship in his last game, his last tournament. But I think North Carolina is going to come in and they're going to send him home. I'm taking North Carolina to upset Duke. I mean, I only call it an upset because Duke is favored. But we clearly have seen this matchup multiple times this season. It wouldn't really be an upset. I'm going to take the Tar Heels over the Dukies. You can book that.
The Heels over the Dukies.
Well, now we got number 2, Villanova versus number 1, Kansas, which will actually be the first matchup of the Final Four. This one will come on at 6 o'clock Eastern. Kansas is favored by 4.5 points. Does Villanova have enough to knock off the last remaining number 1 seed in the tournament?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Villanova is really scary at this point in the tournament. They're going for 3 chips in the last 6 seasons. So, you know, how do you really combat against that? I mean, these guys are definitely hot. They're rolling. And they've got what it takes, you know, as well as any of these 4 teams that are still left. To be able to win the championship, you know. They won it back in 2016 and 2018 under head coach Jay Wright, so he has them competing for yet another title with a 30-7 record, so you really can't down them on that there. And then you've also got Bill Self as well with Kansas as the top seed, 32-6, and looking for their second title actually since 2008, so it's been a little while since, you know, they've been able to get back, and this is actually just the second Final Four that Kansas has been to since they cut down the nets back then. Now you look at the fact that the Kansas Jayhawks are a very balanced team. I feel like they're very battle-tested within this tournament. When you're down by just 6 at halftime to Miami, you know, fortunately, but you're able to go on a 45-17 absolute massacre, really to put on the best 20 minutes of the tournament all year, really. You look at the fact that the defense really stepped up, got them a double-digit lead, and never, ever looked back. Shout out to G for the tissues on my side, man. You're very clutch there, brother. And, you know, you look at the fact that Kansas as well, they allow just 29.6% from downtown. So they're definitely going to be able to lock you defensively. Kansas overall is a very balanced team. Now we'll have to see if they're able to overcome a really tough team, of course, like Villanova. You look at the fact that the back-to-back Big East Player of the Year in Colin Gillespie has a Final Four, some Final Four experience under his belt, rather. You look back that in the fact of 2018, on the title run, he backed up Jalen Brunson and actually had 8 minutes, 3 points, and a 95-79 win over Kansas, ironically, in the Final Four. This year, he truly leads the team with clutch shooting as well, and points, 15.6 points per game. Now, you look at the fact that Villanova also just allowed 44 points to Houston, and they shoot an amazing 83% from the line. They're the best in D1 history. Actually, that free throw percentage is the best in D1 history. And I think that's why they're able to win these close games right now. And even when you look at the fact of Villanova, they only give up the ball 7% of the time with their live ball possessions. And Jay Wright's team really connects on 35.7% of three-point attempts this season. And the Wildcats are also very potent on the offensive side of the ball, no doubt. Really, the offensive glass, securing 31.1% of missed shots for them this year. This is going to be a crazy matchup for sure, but I say all that to say, with the over-under of 133, Kansas -4.5, I'm going to take Kansas to win this one.
All of that to say you're taking Kansas?
I am taking Kansas to win this one.
You went on a full-fledged Villanova rant and be like, but I got Kansas, though.
I do have Kansas. Give me the top seed.
Jesus. Ridiculous. Kansas favored by
Doing
4.5
my best, bro.
points. I mean, apparently you missed Villanova shutting Houston down en route to the Final Four. They only allow 45 points for them. 44 for them boys. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, just like you were talking about, they got the best free throw percentage in the country, which is subsequently the best free throw percentage for a team in men's college basketball history, which is that's outlandish. They're walking into the game boasting a top 10 defense. They've got beasts on both sides of the ball. They rebound well. Their efficiency is off the charts. They don't turn the ball over. They basically, Villanova does all the little things right, which when a game is tight, those are the things that count. And you're like, oh, they were careless with the ball. They didn't make free throws. Villanova's never been like they don't fall victim to that. Not this team. I mean, for all of those reasons, I absolutely see Villanova walking in there and taking Kansas out, sending home the last number 1 seed of the tournament. And I got Villanova versus North Carolina in the national championship game. I'm going to take the Tar Heels because they're on it's not a Cinderella run because the program's entirely too big to call it that, but they're one of the teams that just kind of got forgotten. They have a chip on their shoulder. They can score. They've got athletes, and I don't think North Carolina is going to be denied. I mean, let's see, you've got Duke and Kansas. Who you got winning it all?
Duke. Definitely got Duke winning it all. Coach K is going to ride off in the beautiful sunset here. Championship number 6. Everyone's going to forget about the fact that they lost the final home game, and it's Coach K, man. It's the GOAT. I mean, he's the greatest men's college basketball coach of all time. I know John Wooden is right there with him as well. There's probably going to be some pushback on whether it's Wooden or Krzyzewski, but either way, Duke is going to win this one.
There's no pushback on that. And Coach K is a great coach. We talked about this. Coach Wooden, his record is outlandish.
Yeah.
I mean, with 10 championships and 13 appearances, I mean, Coach K has half. It's really not even close.
Right.
Him winning this doesn't change the discussion. Like, he can't surpass him, especially since he's let us know that this is his last run.
Right.
I mean, I went through.
He's 75 years old. I mean, he's put it all out there. Put it all out there.
Damn, he's been painting his hair. I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah, brother, he's on up there. He is on up there for sure.
Coach K is older than Belichick and Saban. That's news to me, actually.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
It is 8:24. Y'all know what we do every day at 7:24 p.m. We pay homage to the late, great Kobe Bean. Count us down.
3, 2, 1. Kobe.
Rest in peace to the Black Mamba.
R.I.P. to the Mamba.
Yes, sir. If he ever did actually get in these brackets, he said he would have played for your boys, Duke, and they would have actually had another championship, and Coach K might be in the conversation, but he didn't. So now we're going to throw this thing to Mike Beasley so he can let y'all know who pays the bills around this thing.
Yes, appreciate it. Famous Facts feeds, like always. Ladies and gentlemen, you tune in to the March Madness edition of Petty Sports once again, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. every Wednesday with Famous Facts and Adam Lewis at the table, like always, bringing you the hottest, latest, greatest topics in sports right now. Feel free to call in, 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the conversation and join the show tonight. It's really March Madness going on out here, all right? So we'd love to hear from you. The chat room is jumping like always. Share the show, everybody. Go to your different podcast platforms of preference and type in Petty Sports. Listen to the guys there in your car, at home, whatever you're doing. You know, when you're in your leisure time, you want to hear some sports, you know what I mean? Grassroots style, keeping it 100 always, all right? Share. Thank you for everyone that has and everyone that hasn't. What you're waiting on, you know what I mean? Go to, what's that place called? YouTube. Go over there to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so anytime the show is live, you will be notified. Same thing on Fedbook, Book of Face, all of that right there, man. Go over and like, follow, share, and, you know, just keep it in the mix. You know what I'm saying? All in the family, right? So all of this is brought to you by Pulse 880 Radio. That's a 24/7 internet radio station where you can tune in anytime, anywhere in the world, if you have a computer or whatever, phone, and just listen to all kind of music over there, hip-hop, urban, R&B, little soft rock, gospel in the morning times, you know what I'm saying, old school Saturdays, you know what I mean, like when you were back in the day cleaning the house on Saturdays when your mom used to roost you up. Hey, it's time to get busy, you know what I'm saying? No sleeping on the weekend. Yeah, you're not in school, but they turn that radio on and you get to jam, and before you know it, you're done with the house, man, you know what I'm saying? So check them out, Post 880 Radio. Go to iHeart, Google, Spotify, Apple, all of those places right there, and just, you know what I'm saying, type in Petty Sports and we'll pop up, and, hey, we greatly appreciate it. And support black business. Support black business. Support black businesses, because we do ATL. Hold back to the regular schedule program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back. And as promised, I mean, as always, y'all know we're going to bring this thing back around to the NFL because we love to talk about football. Y'all love to talk about it. We're going to jump on the NFL free agents that have not been moved. Where should they go? What is the issue with them? First on deck, we got cornerback, former Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore.
Big decisions for him here. Big decisions. And this is a guy's career who, unfortunately, we don't really know the status of it right now. I mean, we know he's a great corner, of course. We've seen, what he was able to do so far, but, kind of floating around in the Panthers franchise and then now being a free agent, and we don't know if anyone's really showing interest. I mean, we've heard talks here and there, but to actually figure out where Stephon Gilmore might go, not to really throw out maybe the two best teams in each conference, but I'm going to take the Chiefs because, I really do feel like Kansas City could use some secondary help. Tyrann Mathieu might not be coming back around, and that is another player that we're going to address here before, or rather in this segment. So I do have to say that Stephon Gilmore would be a good fit for the Chiefs. And the Chiefs also did just lose Daniel Sorensen as well. So they are going to need some secondary help. We've seen the Chiefs in the past couple of years to where the fact that, people can really air the ball out on them. People can really just have an aerial attack, throw it deep on them, cut them up to a point where that is going to be a weakness of Kansas City. If I had to say another team as well that would really be looking to lock it down for the corner position, they've got a few quality guys, but in terms of someone who would really be a step up and be a true corner one or two, I'm going to look at the Bucs organization as well. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to potentially sign Stephon Gilmore. I know you got a Sean Murphy-Bunting, obviously a Carlton Davis. You got an Antoine Winfield Jr., a great secondary actually over there in Tampa. But when you put in a guy like Stephon Gilmore, because it kind of felt like it was the same reach when they brought in Richard Sherman, but Sherman never just really filled that void like they wanted to bring him in for. So if I had to say a couple landing spots for Stephon Gilmore, give me the two teams from the Super Bowl a couple years ago, Chiefs or Bucs.
I mean, I could see any of them taking a flyer on a used-to-be great cornerback, but
a flyer.
He played 11 games in 2020 with New England, only 8 last season, and he only started in 3 due to injury. 31 years old, will be 32 coming into the season. Only had 3 picks combined in the last 2 seasons. I mean, it's looking like it's about the end of the road for Gilmore.
Yeah.
It's really going to depend on what his asking price is. If he's looking for a last big payday, it's not happening. I mean, when he was with New England, he signed a 5-year, $65 million contract, got paid out $56 million of it, and then he complained about the last year in his deal only being $8 million when you got all the money in your contract. So he left, went to Carolina for less money. He only got $6 million last year and logged in 3 starts for them, and now he's back on the free agency market. I think it's actually time for Stephon Gilmore to retire. I know that sounds harsh, but look at it. At his age, corners, they generally either retire or they decline so significantly at this point that they only give you another year, maybe 2, and they give you very little playing time, very little production, and they just live on their names. So, I mean, let's look at the sample here. Darrelle Revis played 11 years, age 32, 2 starts in his last season. Champ Bailey played 15 years to age 35, but he only got 3 starts in his last season, and he's an anomaly. We're not saying Stephon Gilmore is as good as Champ Bailey. He's kind of an outlier. I mean, between him and Charles Woodson, I mean, Charles played longer than anybody we've ever seen, but he changed positions also and went to strong safety. He stopped playing corner. Patrick Peterson is in year 11 right now, and he's an afterthought in Minnesota. I've seen that he just actually signed a deal today to return to Minnesota, but he's done little to nothing since he's been there. He's not Pat Peterson anymore. You look at Aqib Talib at age 31. After 31, he played 2 seasons, only had 13 starts with 1 pick, and then he retired. Richard Sherman, after age 31, 2 seasons, 8 starts, only 2 interceptions. He's pretty much done.
Right.
Ty Law, after the age of 31.
Ty Law.
He played 4 more seasons. He didn't make any more Pro Bowls, fell all the way off, wasn't getting interceptions.
Yeah.
He was just a name.
Yeah.
Last one I'll give you, Nnamdi Asama. After the age 31, played 1 more season, got 1 start, and 0 interceptions. All of these guys, you remember their names because they were all top flight. Like, they were all like, hey, that's the best corner in the league.
Yep.
They were changing things. Like, quarterbacks were scared to throw to their side, logging in many interceptions, lots of passes defended. They were feared, and they all fell off at the age of 31. Stephon Gilmore has reached there. No one is going to pay him because the people who actually get paid to know what I just told you know what I just told you, and they're not paying him. Not unless he comes to play for the veteran minimum or something very close to it. So I think Stephon Gilmore needs to retire.
Ooh. I can't push back on that there, man.
Now we're going to move on to Bobby Wagner.
B-Wags.
Where is he going?
Bobby Wagner. Man, this is I remember we were talking last week after all the NFL trades were unfolding, and they were like, Jesus Christ, Bobby Wagner actually trying to go to the Rams. So outside of the Rams, because we know there's big talks there, and there's some of those talks of, will Bobby get a big payday? Should he take a pay cut, this, that, and the third? And obviously Bobby's a great linebacker. If he's not the best, he's still, top 3, top 5, wherever you want to put him. The best tackler in the league still, no doubt about that. When you look at Bobby Wagner, though, I think there's a couple of spots where he could really land in the NFL. And the first one's going to be the Arizona Cardinals for me. You look at the fact that they have Isaiah Simmons. You look at the fact that, who does Patrick Peterson play for right now? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that. Okay, so he went from Arizona to Minnesota. Okay, God, I don't know why sometimes I get those confused. So obviously with Patrick Peterson getting out of the building, they took a hit from that last season. Not that it's, a major loss or Patrick Peterson is a elite corner, but I think he's a solid, second corner on a team, no doubt about that. And anybody that watches football knows that Patrick Peterson has some highlights out there. No question about it. You look at the fact, though, that there is an Isaiah Simmons back there. You look at some of the other safeties, of course, in Budda Baker. You bring in a Bobby Wagner, and that is, maybe one of the best secondaries in the NFL in terms of speed, in terms of tackling, knowledge, just being able to do everything that you want out of a contending defense, a team that's actually trying to surge over. Bobby Wagner to the Cardinals. Now, another team, speaking of Super Bowl, this team was actually just in the Super Bowl, not the Rams, though. Yes, I am going to say the Cincinnati Bengals. When you look at the fact that you have a Jesse Bates, a Chidobe Awuzie, an Eli Apple, which, those last 2 guys that I named could potentially be kind of waxing and waning on some certain parts. But you bring in a Bobby Wagner who, again, will be with a team that is trying to grow defensively, whose defense actually was really, really, really underrated in the postseason last year. And I said that a lot. Is Cincinnati's defense actually has a case to be made. You put Bobby Wagner with either the Cardinals or the Bengals, and I think it's a fantastic fit.
Cardinals or Bengals, huh? Okay. I mean, those actually would be good fits for him. I just don't think those teams are in the running. I mean, like, what I've been seeing is it's the Ravens and the Rams. Those are the front runners. The Ravens actually just made an offer for him, which, I mean, he definitely fits the culture in Baltimore because they're a smash-mouth defensive team, much like what Bobby Wagner came from when the Legion of Boom was the Legion of Boom a few years back. But I think the Rams are actually the likely destination for him.
Yeah, we'll break that in just breaking news. Bruce Arians retires. Todd Bowles is the next Buccaneers head coach.
Wow.
Yep. Bruce Arians retires, plans to move into the front office. Todd Bowles takes over as the new Bucs head coach. Wow.
Bruce Arians retires. Todd Bowles, the new head coach.
And then Bruce Arians is going to come back 6 weeks later and say, wait, I forgot Tom came out. Never mind. I still want to coach. This is kind of weird. I mean, Todd Bowles is good. We thought he was going to get some offers, kind of like an Eric Bieniemy type situation, but.
I mean, what
feet to the fire.
What better gift could you get? You
Yeah.
walk into a head coaching job where you've got Tom Brady coming back in, and y'all just made it to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to get everybody back.
Yeah.
I mean, they still got Chris Godwin. They actually gave him a deal, even though they franchised him and then gave him a contract. Mike
Right.
Evans is still there.
Right.
They brought in Russell Gage. Leonard Fournette re-signed.
Yep.
So, I mean, they've got the core of this team back. Most of the heavy hitters on defense are all coming back for another campaign. So, I mean, for you to walk into a head coaching job with a roster as good as what Tampa Bay is,
Yeah.
it's like, yo, that is major.
Yeah.
Like, he's coming into an amazing position. Like,
Right.
it might actually be a gift and a curse. His first year is going to be so good to the point where if Brady decides that he's going to actually retire after this season,
Yeah.
then he's really going to have to go ahead and put on. And the expectation is going to be so high because of what you walked into.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you walking into it the way that it is right now, this just screams job security.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head there, Fees. This is definitely going to be a good start for Todd Bowles. What's up now, Mike?
Brian Leftwich feels slighted.
Oh, he does?
I'm asking, should he?
So OC, right? Offensive coordinator. Oh, yeah. That's a good question, Mike, because both Leftwich and Todd Bowles, we're definitely in some head coach runnings. I remember when we're really right after Todd got traded. It's kind of funny when a major player will get traded and they start highlighting other parts of the franchise. And they were talking about Bowles and potentially Leftwich getting shouted out, especially with Leftwich being the OC. But then you got to ask the question of, in the last couple of seasons, and it might be obvious for some people, but it's a little bit of a debate to me, is the offense or the defense better of Tampa Bay? What was the reason that they actually won? Probably the Super Bowl because of the defense. Mahomes ran for his life. We saw the turnovers in the playoffs. But then you got Leonard Fournette, who scored in every playoff game, But wow, what news. Bruce Arians stepping down.
I mean, the defense was the story of the team before Tom got there,
Yeah.
and everyone was complaining. Well, everyone in the
Might
Tampa
be
circle
fair
was
then.
complaining about Jameis Winston. When
Yeah.
Tom Brady came in, he limited the turnovers, kept the touchdowns rolling, and they won a Super Bowl. But most people are crediting the Super Bowl to the defense. So if you're crediting the Super Bowl to the defense, then you absolutely can't turn around
Yeah.
and then say Byron Leftwich should have gotten it over Todd Bowles. 'Cause
Right.
It makes sense if it was up to the defense.
Right.
I mean,
want-
it's not like Leftwich isn't still there.
Yeah. I wonder if this kind of, just thinking of the breaking news as it hit us, I wonder if this kind of like demotes any Tampa Bay Bucks Super Bowl odds, Like I wonder if, as long as Brady is present, I usually always trust the team. And of course, it's only a couple that we've said about that. Belichick obviously had more of a major role than Arians did. And I think Arians still had that major, head coaching aspect as well. But now you're talking about Todd Bowles, first-year coach. Brady coming back out of retirement. The league has definitely changed. Different aspirations over there in the NFC South. Less competition now. Like the division is really for Tampa. So I guess I see why you say, this could be the best start. Hell, you've got all the whole Super Bowl squad still. The division just got weaker. Nothing's really changed the last two seasons for Tampa. So good for Todd Bowles. Happy for him.
Yeah, walked into an amazing situation. They're definitely the second best, if not the first best team in the NFC. It's really just them and the Rams. No one, you couldn't logically pick anyone over both of those teams on that side. That's a two-team race. He's in an excellent position. This is pretty much like he couldn't have asked for anything better. It's like Bruce Arians, for him to have stepped down like this, I'm almost in question, like, did something happen in his personal life?
Yeah.
Was he doing something and someone forced him out of there?
Yeah.
Because I don't understand why he would leave.
The only thing they need to talk to Bruce. I think it was something with them two. I think it was something with them two. And I think when he came back, Bruce like, I'm just going to front office.
Oh, you said Tom had something to do with it. But he's staying with the teams. He's going to be in the front office.
Yep. Senior
it might have-
consultant for football.
Coach, though, that's different.
it might actually just be a power move for Bruce Arians. He's like, okay, I don't have to worry about the pressure of winning a Super Bowl. I got one. We still got Tom here. Now I can move to the front office and go ahead and make player moves. That's much more security.
Arians is in his 60s, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, moving into the front office is more job security than what it is
69.
for, him being a head coach.
Yep.
So, yeah, that makes sense. No one has nobody knows where the dead bodies are. He made a career move.
Coached the Cardinals from 2013 to 17. Interim head coach of the Colts during the 2012 season. He's got a resume for sure.
Yeah.
What a shocking move, though.
Yeah, didn't
Bruce
see
Arians
that coming,
retiring.
but he retired and stayed with the team. He retired from his position and moved up.
Yeah.
So, that's actually a good move for Bruce Arians. He's had coaches that he can trust. Now he can have a Super Bowl under his belt as a head coach and possibly get to another one in the front office. It's just going to even further bolster his resume.
Yep. Todd Bowles, 58, previously coached the Jets to a 24-40 record through 2015 to 2018. His only full-time head coaching job. Todd Bowles, who is black, would become the 6th minority head coach in the league, joining Tomlin, Rivera, Saleh, McDaniel, and Lovie Smith. Yeah.
We could stop naming McDaniel.
I know, right? How dare people actually, and look at me just reading over it so casually. How dare me? They actually included this. This is on Pro Football Talks article about Arians they just posted. Coached them to a Super Bowl victory less than a year and a half ago, and he's stepping down. That is a good point, though, as well, Fuse. Pressure's off your back. Like Brady came in, whether you built a super team or not, whether, no matter what happened, he still got it. He still got the monkey off his back, just like when it happened with Andy Reid, just like when it happened with Peyton Manning, just like when it happened with these other coaches. They still did it. Time to step back. Can't leave myself out kind of vulnerable anymore. So, yeah, but wow. Bruce Arians stepping down for one of the most recent Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Bucks. Wow.
Hey, breaking news on Petty Sports. This is where it's at.
Absolutely.
Y'all normally hear it in the morning. Now you're getting it at night.
That's right. It's about time to make some moves on the nighttime for us. Let us break the news. We got the energy, bro. We got the energy.
It's all good. We got it for you. We don't need notes. So, man, back to Bobby Wagner. Bobby is going to the Rams. Is absolutely the most likely destination. Since Von Miller left, he left a huge vacancy that's just prime for Bobby to come in and walk in on defense that has so many other stars. He can go out there, play free, doesn't have to worry about double teams being a focal point of a defense. He doesn't even have to be the vocal leader of this defense. They have multiples of those. He can just come in and wreak havoc in a conference that is depleted of actual competitive football teams, and they're fresh off a Super Bowl. So, the entire team has a swag about them that says, we're Super Bowl champs, and Bobby feels like he's still that guy from the two that he went to about a decade ago. It's crazy that was actually that long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8-9 years ago, respectively, he went to back-to-back Super Bowls. He still feels like he's that guy. No one's had more tackles than him in their first 10 seasons in the history of the league.
Yep.
He's going to walk into the Rams and be an instant factor, just like Von Miller was. But I think he's a great replacement for him, actually. He's going to the Rams.
Yep.
Wait on Bobby to suit up in L.A.
Oh, boy.
Yep, so we got a few more guys we're going to cover, but we already to the 8:45 break. Breaking news is real. We're going to throw this thing over to Mike Beasley one more time so we can let you know who pays these bills. And when we come back, we got the Honey Badger, OBJ, Gronkowski, all of these guys. We got to cover them, so keep it locked.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, like always, for tuning in every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to Petty Sports, brought to you by Pulse 880 Radio. Pulse 880 Radio is a 24/7 internet radio station where you can tune in and, jam to the beat and hit a vibe. You know what I'm talking about? Hit that vibe. You're listening to some good music in your car. So tune in to Pulse 880 Radio. Thank you so much. And go to your favorite podcast platforms and tune in to Petty Sports as well. iHeart, Google, Spotify, Apple, any one of those and several more. You can type in Petty Sports and listen to the show there. Thank you to everyone that has shared the show tonight. And if you haven't, what are you waiting on? You know what I'm saying? Do us that big solid. Share the show. Keep the numbers going. Go over to YouTube and subscribe to the Petty Sports page. Petty Sports with a Z. You can see all the old content. Some of the videos from the shows get chopped up into smaller bite-sized portions, and you can go over there and listen to little 3, 4, 6, 7-minute clips and, support that way. Hit the notification bell. subscribe button. Same thing on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, all that good stuff right there, man. We everywhere you want to be. You know what I'm talking about? So appreciate the support. Go to kingsbroadcasting.com, spend some money. Hit that big donating button at the bottom of the home page and share the love. Open your purses. You know what I'm saying? Support black business, support black business, support black businesses, because we do. Hey, and call in 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's how you can join the conversation and be a part of the show tonight. Be brave. Hey, everybody in the chat room, I see you out there chopping it up. Shouts out to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Without no you, there's no us. ATL Hope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fresh off the breaking news from Bruce Arians, we're talking about NFL free agents who have not been picked up yet. So, man, we're going to keep this ball rolling. No further ado. Tyrann Mathieu, they call him the Honey Badger. He has not re-signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Where does he land?
This is going to be a great situation for him as well, because there's a lot of teams out there. You know, luckily when you're a defensive free agent, there's going to be a lot of teams out there I feel like that can really use you, maybe even over the offensive side, because we always have a plethora of offensive players. And when it comes to free agents, defense, we know is valuable, because you might not have to, you know, pay as much money, fight as hard for them, you know, unless it obviously becomes a bidding war for some of these superstars out here. But I say all that to say Tyrann Mathieu, the former Kansas City Chiefs safety, could either go to the Baltimore Ravens. I'll start there at first. You know, obviously a great defensive culture there. We know who Tyrann Mathieu is. He's got, you know, some good trash talking ability to his game, coverage skills. We know he can hit hard. We know he's very smart. And overall, he is from DBU. He is from LSU. And we've seen the skills that he's put on the field time in and time out now. There's no doubt about Honey Badger, what he's able to do on the field and what he will bring to a defensive unit. You know, looking at the Baltimore Ravens, how they just got Marcus Williams in from my New Orleans Saints. You bring in Tyrann Mathieu as well. That's a top safety tandem in the lead. No question about that. Or you can maybe even look at the Indianapolis Colts as well. You've got Darius Leonard back there, of course. I know they did lose Malik Hooker not too long ago. Within the last season or so. So you put Tyrann Mathieu in a position with the Colts team who we know is going to take a step forward with Matt Ryan behind quarterback. We know that their defense is definitely going to be something that plays into the scheme of their storyline of how they're successful next year in the NFL. So I think you put Tyrann Mathieu with the Ravens or the Colts and you get a great outcome from that free agency pickup.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of destinations where a team could use Honey Badger. But I know, like the Dolphins and the Steelers, where they were really in the running. Both of them have said they have actually pulled out. And I mean, almost very similar to the things that I told you about Stephon Gilmore. Unless he's willing to come down on the contract demands, he's going to end up staying in Kansas City. Because at this point, Kansas City has more money available than any destination he can go to since the Tyreek Hill trade. They've got plenty of money now with him off the books. So, I mean, he's probably just going to sit around and wait to see if someone's going to offer him big money. But most of the teams that are in the running, they either can't afford him or they won't pay that much money for his services because he is getting up in age. So, but I think ultimately what we'll see is Tyrann Mathieu will sit for another good month, and then he's going to end up re-signing with the Chiefs. He's not going anywhere. Kansas City, calm down. Honey Badger's not leaving.
Standing pat.
Yeah, he's just chilling right now.
Heard on that.
Yep, now we got Odell Beckham Jr.,
OBJ.
Super Bowl champion and super dancer. Where's he going?
Super Bowl champion, super dancer, super reignition of his career. I got to say Odell Beckham Jr. would look fantastic in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. You get Dak Prescott throwing to him. Amari Cooper just left. You know, you sign a older and more beat up Michael Gallup, excuse me. You even let Cedric Wilson get out of the building. So, you know, you really feel like, and you just even look at some of the other moves as well for Dallas, you really feel like that things have gotten away from them. Of course, OBJ could go back to the Rams. We've heard about that, and that might be the best fit for him. OBJ, he's even said that he's not closing out a return to the Cleveland Browns as well. Don't think that would really be beneficial. Yes, Deshaun Watson. Well, I'm not going to say that it wouldn't be rolled out, because realistically, I think he's only saying that because Deshaun Watson is now the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Don't think he would want to go back and have Baker throwing to him again. But looking at what the Cowboys have lost, looking at how Dak Prescott has one of the best arms in the NFL, one of the best aerial attacks to work with, you put OBJ in with a Michael Gallup, in with a CeeDee Lamb to try to supplement for those losses. Maybe that works out well. And maybe you even give Matt Ryan a weapon out in Indianapolis and bring OBJ over to the Colts. I think that would be a good pickup also. You got a Michael Pittman out there. Of course, you got Mo Alley Cox. There are plenty of weapons with out there for Indianapolis. So you just make Matt Ryan more comfortable. He's already going to be behind that offensive line. You give him an OBJ where it might be kind of risky because, of course, he's coming off the injury in the Super Bowl. But it wouldn't be a bad pickup for the Cowboys or the Colts to pick up Odell Beckham Jr.
I mean, I like both of those destinations for him. I could see either one of those, and they will both be good moves. But I know him expressing his interest in going back to Cleveland. I think Cleveland signing Amari Cooper and flirting with bringing Jarvis Landry back, I don't think they would be opposed to signing Landry and Odell Beckham back along with Amari Cooper to just completely stack this deck for Deshaun Watson whenever he is actually allowed to play. I mean, we don't know what the status is or if he's going to get suspended, and if he does, how long it's going to be. But at whatever point that he's allowed to play, if they have this many wide receivers to go along with a quarterback the caliber of Deshaun Watson, then, I mean, their expectations are going to be Super Bowl. But he just won a Super Bowl in L.A. I mean, they signed Allen Robinson, and they shipped out Robert Woods. So it's like, I don't know if maybe he's thinking that Allen Robinson is coming in to take his position. Allen Robinson's also coming off of an injury. So it's not like he's walking in with a Pro Bowl, like a first-team All-Pro season about to take your position. Him and Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson, they can all coexist out there. He definitely has real estate in L.A. as far as where the team sees him. Jalen Ramsey just came out expressing what he thought. He said that he felt like OBJ would have won MVP of the Super Bowl had he not gotten hurt. So the team rides for him. They love him in L.A. His personality is all the way L.A. He needs to stay where he is, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually went back to Cleveland, because he does seem like he liked it out there. But the two destinations that you mentioned, I mean, hey, Dallas, that's also OBJ all day. It's just there will be a lot of pressure to perform in Dallas because they have not gotten over the hump in almost 30 years. So, I mean, that might not be the move. I mean, at least in Cleveland, they're hopeful. In Dallas, they're expecting it.
Yeah.
But I would stay in L.A. Now, our last free agent on the free agent tracker, where are they going? Rob Gronkowski, sitting on the sideline, not letting anybody know what he wants to do. Where's he going to go?
I just don't see how he could go anywhere else but the Buccaneers. And, we just feel this personality from Gronk, right? Like, we've heard the Gronky and the Tommy, novels. Yeah. We've seen how Gronk has obviously interacted with Tom Brady on the sidelines, and they have a great relationship. They're clearly best friends. Clearly love how these guys play on the field. They've done a lot of great things together. Rob Gronkowski is like a top 3, top 5 tight end of all time. And when you actually take a step back, look at what he's done in the postseason, look at what he's done with Tom, I don't see how, and it's not that he wouldn't be successful anywhere else, but the fact that he literally stepped out of retirement, talked about football for a year professionally. And then once Brady moved, he was like, oh, I'm going to go back. So, came out of retirement. There was rumors for about literally 5 seconds of Gronkowski getting traded to the Bucs, and there he went. So I don't see how he goes anywhere else but Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, before he left out, he said he would never catch another pass from another quarterback other than Brady. I mean, he did come out after the season and after Brady retired and say that he expressed a little bit of interest in going to Cincinnati and playing with Burrow because he does like him. But with Brady back, there's no way he leaves. I mean, I really feel like Gronk not being signed yet is him being like, bruh, I don't want to go to OTAs. I don't feel like all these offseason workouts, these practices, my body's beat up. I can do what I do without as much practice as what y'all say that I need. And this is the way that I can not go to practice is wait until the end of July, early August to sign a new deal. Because that means he doesn't have to show up because he ain't on the team. I mean, I really feel like that's actually all it is with Gronk. He's waiting. So, man, we've finished our free agent tracker. We're going to move on to one more pressing topic before we hit the top of the hour. Baker Mayfield, his days in Cleveland, they basically have come to a close. They signed Deshaun Watson. He's still on the roster requesting a trade. I mean, I don't even know why he's requesting a trade. It's like, bro, everybody knows they're not going to play you. Like, you're basically just dangling for anyone who doesn't get a quarterback in a draft. So, I mean, was he worth the number 1 pick 4 seasons ago?
As much as I originally wanted to say no when I knew we were going to talk about this walking into tonight's show, I have to say yes. And I know that he might have had some disciplinary actions in college. The way he came into the NFL might not have been super solid. The maturity that we've talked about, that's this, that, and the third, right, with Baker Mayfield. But you look at the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fees, but I literally went back today and looked at every Cleveland Browns quarterback since the franchise has started. Next to Otto Graham and hell, maybe Vinny Testaverde, I think we can safely say that Baker Mayfield might be the best Cleveland Browns quarterback that's ever came through that organization in the short 4 years that he's been there because of what he's done for the franchise. Now, it's not a lot to hold on to, but if you're going to go back to Cleveland, going to go back to the state of Ohio and ask these people, was Baker worth the number 1 pick 4 seasons ago? When you look at it from the fan base perspective and you see that, yes, Baker took a minute to obviously get things going. I mean, he had a great rookie year. He was on, he had the records under his belt, obviously. And the fact that, I'm not freaking out about it, okay? I don't hold major stock in this, but the 8 to 10 game stretch that Baker had after OBJ got hurt, and I think, week 7 of the season last year, or the season before, that's what everybody is holding on to. And the fact that Baker got them to a playoff game, the fact that Baker beat the Steelers, the fact that Baker could have beat the Chiefs, that's what everybody's going to hold on to, right? And that's why people are going to say that the number 1 pick was worth it 4 seasons ago. I can also hold on to that and say that as well because the Browns, we know what the Browns were. It was kind of like the Saints years back. They were a laughingstock of the NFL until they got people in there, really, until they got the right head coach. And it's only been a couple of seasons, and when we graded the Browns, just a couple weeks back, I wasn't like, oh, they get an F. No, they got like somewhere between a B and a C for me because that's what the culture has been. So if you're talking about Baker being worth the number 1 pick 4 seasons ago, he's kind of changed the culture. He's changed the culture as best as he could. And the fact that he's been able to do that, get them to a playoff game, and then they just bring in Deshaun Watson. Of course, Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson, right? We know who he is. But Baker's kind of been done dirty in a way. I feel for the kid, and I understand why I said the farewell, talked about the trade, this, that, and the third. So in terms of being worth the number 1 overall pick 4 seasons ago, yeah, he did something productive in his time there. Might not have been extravagant, but it's better than what they looked at. So I have to say it was worth it.
Man, he was absolutely not worth that pick. Did you see who actually got picked in that draft? He got picked number 1 in the draft that produced Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Bradley Chubb, Minka Fitzpatrick, Vita Vea, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Darius Leonard, Michael Gallup. All of these guys got drafted in the same draft that Baker Mayfield was number 1 overall. We're talking about the guy who went first in the 2nd round is more the leader of Baker's team than him. Nick Chubb is easily the best player on that offense.
Yep.
And he was the 3rd Cleveland pick in that draft.
Yep.
They picked him first in the 2nd round. We're talking about Baker changed he did not change the culture there. The culture was changed by the running game and the defense. They had Chubb and Hunt. They had a stout defense. They got number 1 draft picks all over the place. You've got wide receivers, tight ends. You've got names. I don't even have to keep going through all of the names. Baker Mayfield held that team back. You give the Cleveland Browns roster to Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, say they got a defense like that and a running game like that and wide receivers like that, guaranteed the Cleveland Browns would have banners in their stadium. So, no. He's absolutely not worth it. He does not deserve credit for the culture change because it was everything else around him. Any quarterback that was playing for Cleveland would have experienced the amount of success that Baker did because he had a super team, and he is the reason why they did not excel.
Yeah. Good take there, Fees.
I can't ride with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see, and I know what you're saying as well about, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, but they weren't on the level that Baker was on when Baker got drafted. Obviously, Lamar and Josh Allen are, without a question, even on on the worst day, probably better than an average Baker Mayfield, right? I mean, that's just what it is. But Josh Allen was bad in college. Josh Allen wasn't good. I know Lamar wasn't bad.
That guy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But we know what Baker was, and Baker obviously went number one for a reason. And I think Lamar was very last.
Yeah, Lamar was
very
the
last,
32nd pick.
Yeah, the 32nd overall pick. That's just what we saw with our eyes, though. That's just where Baker was on the boards. That's just where he was going to be picked, So to say, and I understand Brown's roster absolutely great, right? The last 4 years, but I think it's comparable with the Bills. I think it's definitely comparable with the Ravens. The Ravens probably have had a better roster the last 4 years than the Browns have.
No, they haven't. The Browns just have underachieved because their quarterback play has been trashed.
It's. I get your take, but it's kind of tough to hold down on that because again, Lamar was that dude, but he was scouted and picked 32nd for a reason. I mean, let's just be real. I know he's better than Baker, but at that time, Baker had the hype, He did. He was number one overall. Lamar literally went 31 picks
because
after.
He was at Oklahoma and Lamar was at Louisville. Lamar was better in college.
Yeah. Comparable. They were both very good.
Lamar was better than him in college. He's better than him now.
Definitely better than him now.
He always was better than him.
Yeah.
Lamar got shafted in the draft.
All the mistakes. Good for the Ravens, though. Really good for the Ravens.
We've reached the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and throw this thing to the commercial break. When we come back, we got plenty more segments for you. We're going to jump right back into a new segment, NFL Prove It or Lose It. We got the VERZUZ battle coming. We got the NFC South to cover. It's going to stay hot, so keep it locked.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to Petty Sports Wednesday Night Edition. 8 o'clock every week right here with Famous Facts Feeds and Adam Lewis bring you the latest and greatest in the sports world. He has some breaking news tonight, Bruce Arians stepping down as head coach and moving into the front office and opening the gateway for another brother in the NFL to be a head coach, Todd Bowles. So we appreciate it. All of this is brought to you by Pulse 880 Radio. Pulse 880 Radio. Google it. It's official. 24/7 internet radio station. You got your urban music, soft rock, jazz, hip hop. Gospel in the mornings. Hey man, it's hard to miss. Pulse 880 Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Share the show. Thank you so much. Without you, there will be no us. All right. So go to your favorite podcast platforms, download the shows, listen to them there. Subscribe to YouTube, Facebook. Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Petty Sports with a Z. We greatly appreciate everybody who's following and help drive the numbers and tickle that algorithm. We appreciate that, man. All right. So shouts out to you guys, everybody in the chat room. Feel free to call in at 678-871-9602. 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show tonight. All right. So, do us a big solid. Call in. Don't be afraid. It's a lot of stuff going on out here. In the sports world. Breaking news, March Madness, all that good stuff, all right? So, hey, thank you. Support black business, support black business. It's all we do. ATL, hold back to the regular scheduled program.
You already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. 9:03 on a Wednesday night, March 30th, 2022. Petty Sports is alive and well. We are in the beginning stages of season 2. And the show is rolling, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're right here with us, presented by KINGZ Broadcasting Studios. You already know it's not about where Petty Sports is at. It's about where you catch your content, where you watch your content, where you catch your podcast. Call into the show. 678-871-9602. Of course, the comment section is always hopping per usual. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you don't like. Call in and just give us a take in general. We love you guys. We miss you guys. And we are about to roll on into the second hour of the show with NFL Prove It or Lose It. Shout out to Famous Facts Fees, my boy Triple F, for coming up with this segment here. And right here, it's really all about NFL quarterbacks. We're going to discuss 5 quarterbacks that have kind of had a little bit of a narrative floating around, floating around their career. Some old, some new, some been in the league for a little bit, but we will see whether this is the year to prove it or lose it. You see the 5 quarterbacks right there on the graphic. So we will start with the first one, Kyler Murray. Can he sustain production amidst his injury-riddled end of seasons? Fees. We know Kyler will start out hot last year in the MVP race, gets hurt, whether it's the shoulder, whether it's the legs, and just doesn't ever come back the same. Will he prove it this year, Or will he, I guess, lose a contract extension, a big contract for the injuries?
I mean, I don't think the contract extension's coming. Hold up, my mic isn't on.
Oh, no mic for triple left there.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
There we go. He's not going to lose it per se with the contract. It's just going to end up getting pushed out into a franchise tag type of situation. I mean, over the 3 seasons, his record has improved each year. Right. But every season, we see the same thing. Every season, he comes out hot, and you're looking like, oh, the Arizona Cardinals have arrived. Like, this might be their year. And then the second half of the season, they're terrible. Like, their declines are, like, catastrophic. I mean, last year they were, like, you couldn't even deny they were the best team in the league through 10 weeks, and then all of a sudden they're a wild card team.
Yep.
Like, they should have gotten
bad wild card team going away.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous, and they have talent all over the roster. It's not like he's not getting help.
Yeah.
He's got wide receivers. He's got a really good defense. I mean, he's claiming injury and saying, well, he's playing hurt. If you're hurt, then sit out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just like Baker Mayfield is claiming, I shouldn't have played hurt, and you hurt your own stock, you're hurting your own stock. Right. If you're hurt, then come out.
Yep.
If you're not hurt, then win. But we're looking at next season coming in. They're playing the NFC South, the AFC West, which is the newly anointed best division in football.
Wow.
Philly, Minnesota, and New England. It's like you don't really have any bad teams on your schedule. I mean, those 3 games that you got, Philly, Minnesota, and New England are all on the same level playing field where they're all middle-of-the-road teams that can sneak a wild card. I mean, hell, Philly and New England both made the playoffs in a wild card last year, and Minnesota was right on the cusp.
Yep.
So, like, those aren't gimme games, especially seeing as how the Cardinals ain't that damn good. You might not win a single game against the AFC West. The NFC South, you know you're not beating Tampa. We don't really know exactly what New Orleans is going to be, but they clearly weren't as bad as we thought they were going to be last year, so that's not a slouch, especially with Jameis Winston coming in behind the helm.
All right.
We don't know. Mariota might actually spark a little something in Atlanta and have a second career. But then you got to talk about your division. We know you could be Seattle, but you got to play the Rams twice. We don't know what the 49ers quarterback situation is, but y'all aren't better than them.
Right.
I mean, you might be able to beat them with Trey Lance, but Jimmy G's still there.
Right.
So long as Jimmy's still starting, you're not beating them either.
Right.
This could be a sub-500 season and the beginning of the end of Kyler Murray is an emerging superstar quarterback to just being a flash-in-the-pan guy that was good, fun to watch, not going to get another contract.
Yeah.
It definitely won't be the type of payday what he was expecting halfway through last season. It looked like he was going to break the bank. Now it's like, you're very fortunate that quarterback salaries are going up so much that if you do get franchised, you're going to get a massive payday, but you're not getting an extension.
Right. Yeah, this is, y'all know enough. I love Kyler Murray. He's probably my favorite player, in the NFL right now. No question about that. Definitely love Kyler. And we've seen, in recent seasons where Kyler Murray has been playing absolutely great. And he's really a guy that can do it all. He's got great legs, great IQ, extremely accurate. He was towards the top of the league last year in completion percentage. He can make any throw. He can throw on the run. He's very clutch. Like, we know Kyler Murray, everything you wanted a quarterback short of size, Kyler Murray has it. There is absolutely no question about that. And when you look at the fact that, you mentioned fees, the quarterback market is absolutely nuts right now. I mean, you've got quarterbacks making, 40, 50, maybe even 60 million a year in some years of their contract between base salary, roster bonus, all of that stuff. So the quarterback market is absolutely insane right now. But, I could kind of see an instance, and I hate to admit this, to where the Cardinals are they're tired of seeing Kyler get banged up, right? There's, it's happened for 3 seasons now, 2 or 3 seasons. What happens if it goes to 4, if it goes to 5? Money's very valuable in the NFL. And the Cardinals, obviously spent the number 1 overall pick on Kyler Murray. They drafted a quarterback a year before that in Josh Rosen. So bringing in Cliff Kingsbury, they've kind of done a lot of really reachful moves, but it's paid off to an extent up until this point. I don't know if they could reach again and pay Kyler Murray if he doesn't stay healthy. I mean, Kyler Murray on a good day with 2 pairs of socks on and 3-inch tall cleats is 5'11". Let's just call it what it is. And I know that's a little bit of a shot to Kyler there. Again, love the quarterback, but we know that he's small, right? Could he rightfully ask for, let's be real. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, they're probably going to be, by the time they get paid, maybe $40 to $45 million a year quarterbacks. But when you're looking at Kyler Murray, he really might only be a $35 to $38 million a year quarterback. And if Arizona doesn't want to pay him that, I can see an instance where they trade him away. I do think Kyler Murray, to get back to this, topic of the segment, I do think that he does prove it this year because Kyler's great. He's got his weapons. I think he'll be able to figure the health out because they're going to have to come up with a different scheme for him and actually run that team differently in order to be able to make it work. Because if not, it's just going to be another Andrew Luck, another early Deshaun Watson type of case, and we don't want that out of a number one overall pick in Kyler Murray. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, with no playoff wins, I can't even give him Andrew Luck status. I think Deshaun is a little bit closer, but Deshaun has done more than him also.
Right.
Like he's in a category by himself.
Yep, definitely tough there to see for Kyler because, like, again, we know he's special. He really is everything that you want in a quarterback, no question about it. He maybe could be more of a leader, just could have more of that moxie in the locker room. But, people out here have a lot of respect for Kyler, no doubt. Now let's go on to Tua Tagovailoa, who just picked up Tyreek Hill, now has Jalen Waddle, now has Cedric Wilson. There are just a lot of weapons out there in Miami at the moment. Will Tua start or back up more this coming season? Will Tua Tagovailoa start, I guess prove it, or lose it and back up more this coming NFL season with Tyreek Hill and all that speed in the building?
This take right here is for Tuck, Langston, Amy, all you Dolphin fans that troll me all the time. Tua is going to go see the Wizard this season and actually find his confidence for 2022. I know they brought in Teddy Bridgewater, but he's not a stranger to having a veteran quarterback breathing down his neck. Like, Fitzpatrick was just there right behind him. They were using him interchangeably. Think he's probably finally getting more comfortable with, like, off the hip injury because he did walk straight into Miami off of an injury out of Alabama. Don't know that he was all the way poised and ready to go. Fitz said some disturbing things about his confidence in throwing the ball to receivers that weren't wide open, but guess what just happened? He has receivers like he did at Alabama now. Like, you've got Tyreek Hill, you've got Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Devontae Parker, Gesicki. He's got a barrage of people to throw to. It's not going to be difficult now. He got an improved offensive line. They've got a decent running backfield. I think Tua is going to take steps forward this season. He's going to start pretty much all of the games. I mean, barring injury, I don't really see Teddy Bridgewater making his way into the game. I know he is an insurance policy, so if something happens to Tua or if Tua implodes, they absolutely shouldn't lose a step, bring in the safe Teddy Bridgewater in. But I think Tua is finally going to solidify his place in the league. I'm not calling the Dolphins to the Super Bowl by any means, but I think Tua is going to come into his own this season, and he's going to look like a legitimate NFL quarterback, like what we thought he was coming out of Alabama.
Feel that, man. Feel that. And I want that for Tua as well. You know what I mean? Like, Tua definitely, he really might have been the number one overall pick if it wasn't for Joe Burrow at that point in time. We knew that, especially with Tua's injury as well. I'm going to get real technical with this question of will Tua start or back up more this coming season. I think he will back up more this coming season, only by a slim margin due to bad play to where Teddy will come in, but also potential injury. I don't think we have to worry about, him getting pulled like Brian Flores was doing there. I think that cost, B-Flow Coach of the Year that year, really hurt Tua's confidence and just the overall scheme that they were really trying to build and buy in on Tua, just build around him at that point when he was a rookie in Miami. And I like Tua. I really do. I love how diverse he is. I love how he just came onto the scene when he was playing Georgia. I love the fact that he had a great career at Alabama. But unfortunately, he does look very small in the league. The arm isn't the greatest. We've seen some issues with accuracy and just overall arm strength. And unfortunately, we were just talking about Kyler here. Kyler is literally the same size as Tua, but Kyler can do everything that these 6'3", 6'4" quarterbacks out here can do. He's just not durable like the bigger guys. Tua's got to prove it now. He's got Teron Armstead. He's got Mike Gesicki. Those are both top 10 players in the league. He's got he's got Jalen Waddle. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Ced Wilson. That's definitely a top 5 to top 7 wide receiver core in the league. We know about the defense in Miami. This is it for Tua. Tua is literally on a prove it or a lose it year. This could be a contract deciding year for Tua Tagovailoa. I do think he technically backs up more than he starts this year because of either bad play or injury. I trust Teddy. I really do. Teddy is a guy that could maybe take that team to the playoffs. Let's just be real. We've seen it in his career at certain points. Will he get the shot, though, is another question. But I do think Tua might back up here more this season.
Yeah, but I think Tua will play too well for them to bring in Teddy.
We'll see. We'll see. Tua is definitely going to be interesting this year for sure. Justin Herbert in an NFL prove it or lose it type of scenario here. Was it his fault for not winning, or was it the defense fees? Justin Herbert, prove it or lose it.
Like he's a kind of difficult case right here to call prove it or lose it because he never actually has to prove it. He puts up numbers, and then you blame the defense. He's at one of the hardest, the hottest starts that we've ever seen in NFL history for a quarterback, but no playoff appearances yet. I mean, the dude has thrown for almost 10,000 yards and damn near 70 touchdowns in his first 2 NFL seasons. I mean, the numbers, they jump off the page. People are anointing him, saying he's the next greatest thing. He's already been, just dimed an elite quarterback, and he hasn't won anything. It's amazing how that happens. I think this season, with the improvements to the AFC West just as a division, he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt to say that it's still the defense's fault, even though they brought in Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson to go along with Bosa. They keep on losing games. Be like, well, Russell Wilson's in the division now, and Devontae Parker came over, and Kansas City is Kansas City. And then you have to play against the AFC North. So they're still going to give him a pass and continue with the fake anointing. But in my opinion, I'm going lose it because I never was sold. You've got to win. If you put up numbers and your team is losing, I see those as empty stats, just like I told you about Deshaun Watson last week. I'm not giving you credit for destroying the league numbers-wise, and you're not playing in January.
Yeah, that's definitely tough to push back on. I mean, we've seen guys in the past, no matter what the situation is, we've seen them put up numbers and we've seen them not be able to perform in big moments. And we know Justin Herbert realistically will be able to establish that type of, energy in the NFL. There's no question about that. Will Justin Herbert prove it or lose it, though? Was it his fault for not winning or the defense? I think we can even go further here, and maybe we could have structured this part of it a little better. Or was it the health of the team? We know there's been times where Austin Eckler hasn't been healthy. Keenan Allen hasn't been healthy. Bosa hasn't been healthy. Derwin James is just out for a little while. You're dealing with a rookie, obviously, and Asante Samuel Jr. Still sticking to the health, though. Yes, we could say of the defense potentially, because we've seen with the passing defense, or not with the passing defense, with the rush defense being towards the bottom of the league, being last in the NFL in some cases when it came to that. And that's obviously not something to where when you've got a guy like Justin Herbert, when you've got, a coaching change, when you're able to get Anthony Lynn out of there, able to get a Brandon Staley in, this is a team that definitely has aspirations to go far. I love them. I believe in them. Y'all know that. Fees just gave his take on, not really being sold on Justin Herbert. I am, though, and I think it is because he hasn't had a full, healthy team around him now with the defense who has made moves into Khalil Mack, who has made moves into J.C. Jackson. So I don't think it was Justin Herbert's fault for not winning, as ironic as that might sound to some people, because even outside the numbers, Justin Herbert has shown with the arm, with the accuracy, with the way he plays on the football field that he's got what it takes in a quarterback to be able to take them to a Super Bowl. I think Justin Herbert is a future Super Bowl champion. I'm not going to say it's his fault for losing these football games. Now let's talk about a team here, Fees, to where
Phillip Rivers 2.0.
Horrible, so disrespectful. You did. Oh wow. All right, man. We don't have enough time to be able to go around the ringer on that. Patrick Mahomes' life after Tyreek Hill. Will he prove it that he will be good without him and Kansas City will be just fine, or will he lose it and maybe have a down year and not be on the Mahomes magic?
Oh, he'll prove it and still be good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is not going to have bad seasons. He's going to be the second coming of, wait for it, Aaron Rodgers. What did I tell y'all? Over a year ago, I told you he's not going back to any more Super Bowls. He's going to get that huge contract. His weapons are going to leave. He's going to put up numbers, but that February game that we all love to watch, he's not going to be playing in it. He'll win more MVPs. They'll make the playoffs. He is literally going to become Aaron Rodgers. He's already the State Farm representative. Tyreek Hill's gone. Just like Aaron Rodgers after 2010, just putting up numbers, winning MVPs, and that's life. No more Super Bowls. They'll make the playoffs. He'll still be good. It's not going to be a fall off in his production or it'll be like, damn, I thought he was that guy. But Kansas City is not going to be the same Kansas City that you've grown to know for the past 4 seasons, just like I told you. You do remember I told you a year ago that he wouldn't see another Super Bowl for at least 5 more years. And you thought I was crazy. And now you're with me. It's all good. He's still good, though.
So let's take a look at Patrick Mahomes, really the last 4 seasons. 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. We remember that. Cuts it in half the next year, essentially 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns. Comes back the year after that. Loses in the Super Bowl. 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 6 picks, and essentially the same numbers the year after that. 4,800 touchdowns, 37 yards, 13 interceptions. Now, to really attack the question here and say, does Patrick Mahomes prove it and, show that I think Kansas City will be just fine without Tyreek Hill, but we can't turn away from the fact that Patrick Mahomes has now shown us twice in his career that he will hit a stretch to where the mechanics are off. He's just not playing good. And a lot of that scouting report that we saw from the college days really come to the forefront and show you that Patrick Mahomes can be rattled. He can play bad. And, we saw it that him and Trevor Lawrence for a decent part of the NFL season, along with Zach Wilson, led the NFL in interceptions. I'm going to take the term here of lose it, actually. I believe we might see a fall off here from Patrick Mahomes, maybe throw for around 3,800 to maybe 4,000, 4,200 yards. And I know y'all are probably going to say, oh, how is that necessarily a fall off? Maybe even it goes below. I'll even go to say he throws for 3,600 to 3,800 yards. I feel like we're going to feel that impact of Tyreek Hill not being there. Mecole Hardman would already be developed if I feel like he was going to get a bigger role. Of course, you bring in MVS. Of course, you bring in Juju Smith-Schuster as well. So they're going to have to develop those wide receivers. There's no doubt about that. And I think overall, again, Kansas City will be fine, but I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to go through another one of those stretches. He's not going to have his super deep ball receiver, his one-play walking touchdown, and potentially loses it and has a little bit more of a down year than we've seen in the past. Don't freak out, though. Patrick Mahomes is still absolutely fine. But now we'll roll on into the last one here, who we just had for him on a comparison. Will Aaron Rodgers prove it and show that he can go further than he's been with weapons? Or without weapons, rather. Or will he lose it and quit on Green Bay without Devontae Adams, without MVS? This is crazy. Aaron Rodgers, prove it or lose it.
Aaron Rodgers is absolutely going to lose it. I can't imagine what's actually going through that man's head right now when he came back in, signed that massive contract, and then Devontae Adams left, and now Valdez-Scantling left. So all you've got is Randall Cobb, who you forced the organization to sign as the quote-unquote number 3 guy, even though he's like a 3 or 4 receiver. His better days are far past him, and that's all you've got is Randall Cobb. I mean, there are rumors that maybe they might get DK Metcalf. There's not a whole lot of guys that want to go play in Green Bay.
Hell no.
Like, you lost the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. That's not a campaign to be like, oh, I want to go play with A-Rod. They're like, why the hell did Devontae leave you? They're going to call Devontae, and whatever he tells them is going to be the reason why they go somewhere else. So this is going to be the worst year in recent memory for A-Rod. Probably be the worst year we've seen from him since 2008 when he took over Green Bay, when he took over a 13-3 Green Bay team that went to the NFC Championship game, and they went 6-10. It's going to be bad like that.
Yeah.
All you're going to see is Aaron Rodgers making short, safe passes to protect his passer rating. He's not going to push the envelope. He's not going to force anything. And they're going to lose a lot of games due to his lack of willingness to take chances just because he wants to make sure that his passer rating is among the top of the league in history. And that's what you're getting, because that's what happens in the playoffs. He stops throwing even when he has weapons. Now he doesn't have any weapons. We've never actually seen him without weapons. We always laud Aaron Rodgers, be like, he can scramble. He's got the arm. When's the last time you saw him without Devontae Adams or without Jordy Nelson or without a Jennings? He's always had a top-flight wide receiver.
Yep, he's always had a weapon at his disposal.
There's always somebody that he's like, I know I can go to this guy. Yep. Now there's nobody.
Yep.
Now he's working with an offense that looks reminiscent of a lot of those raggedy Patriot wide receiving cores that somehow Tom was winning with.
Right.
And Aaron ain't that guy. So it's not going to happen. It's going to be a bad year. And folks are going to be like, man, what happened to Aaron Rodgers? Just revert back to Petty Sports and let everyone know I told you so.
It's going to be check out episode 54, I believe, of Petty Sports, and they'll figure that out. Yeah, man, I think it's definitely going to be tough for Aaron Rodgers here because, you know, we've seen it in recent years. When Devontae Adams isn't open, Aaron Rodgers folds. If you throw, and he kind of gets a little bit of this trait from Tom Brady as well. If Rodgers throws your way and you don't come through, he might not look your way again or even think about, you know, or he'll look your way but not give you another target in that game, right? Devontae Adams was clearly his fail-safe. Aaron Jones was clearly the number 2 option that he wanted to go to. We saw it last year. We saw it the year before. Both NFC title games in their house. So what the hell do you do? I mean, honestly, how do you get any further than this? Oh, wait, you figure out the fact that you just paid a 39-year-old quarterback $50 million a year. We've seen Josh Allen. We've seen Peyton Manning. We've seen Drew Brees. We've seen Tom Brady. We've seen so many people take less money, and you're watching Aaron Rodgers literally eat up every single bit of the Brinks truck, and now you can't get people back in the house. And now you're going to see an Aaron Rodgers, which I don't disagree with you, Fees. It might be a 6-10 type of year. It might be a type of Green Bay Packers year to where Aaron Rodgers had a hurt shoulder, and we weren't even really thinking about Green Bay at that point. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is going to be bad, but I don't think we're going to see more MVP voting. I don't know what we're really going to see out of Aaron Rodgers because we haven't seen a point in his career where he's actually had to go through this. This is where his career will be defined, kind of like how people are having that spectacle on Mahomes, but luckily, as long as you've got Mahomes and Reed, you're really going to be good. As long as you've got LaFleur and Rodgers, you're probably still going to be good. But what is Aaron Rodgers truly going to be with only a running back and maybe a tight end that, you know, after Bob Tonyan's breakout year a couple seasons ago with double-digit touchdowns, what has he really been since? You know, who is really going to fill that role? The Packers have picks, but who's going to fill a Devontae Adams in an MVS role? I really don't know. Really don't know, to be honest with you.
And he's 38 before they come and they fact check you.
Oh, 38. Okay, I thought he was 39. Yeah, I mean, $50 million a year. No money left for Devontae Adams. MVS is out the building. I don't even know what to say. I know we ran over a little bit here, Fees. It is 9:27. Do we want to try to pop the verses out real quick and then hit the South wrap up? NFC South wrap up? What do you think?
We can go ahead and hit the break, come back through the verses, and then we'll hit the South.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to run it. All right, Mike, we'll throw it to you a little bit early here. 9:27 Eastern time. Mike Bell, talk to us, brother. Let us know who pays the bills.
Hey, man, you know who pays the bills. Post 880 Radio, ladies and gentlemen. Post 880 Radio. This is who's sponsoring tonight's show. Petty Sports, Wednesday night edition, 8 p.m. every week. You know what I'm talking about? We thank you for joining us tonight. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with the boys at the table doing what they do. You know what I'm saying? We greatly appreciate it. Share the show, share the link. Go to the page, subscribe, like, all that good stuff right there, man. You know what I'm saying? And go to your different podcast platform of preference. Type in Petty Sports over there. You know, Apple, iHeart, Google, Spotify, all that good stuff right there. All the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, you name it, you know, we there, you know what I'm saying? So do us that big solid, you know what I'm saying? Go to YouTube, subscribe, all that good stuff, man, you know what I mean? Go to KINGZBroadcasting.com, spend some money, buy some gifts over there, you know, we got a lot of good merch, you know what I'm saying? And do call in. What you waiting on? The phone has been silent tonight. 678-871.
Yeah, for real, bro.
9602 678-871-9602. That's how you can join the conversation and be a part of the show tonight. All right, so let us hear from you. You know what I'm saying? We won't chop you off too bad. You know what I mean? Well, it depends on what you say. You know what I'm saying? Feed, that's a hard cook. Nut to crack right there. That guy right there, he'll go in on you. So I don't know.
Y'all pray for me. I do a lot.
I'm not gonna set you up for failure, but call in and you know what I'm saying, try your luck, you know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying, we'd love to hear from you and get a couple laughs and kicks. And check this out. If you can guess what I had for dinner tonight, right? I got some Petty Sports merch for you. So you know what I'm saying? You in the chat room and you can guess what I had for dinner. I got you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send you something real hot, all right? Yo, thank you. Support black business, support black business, support black business. Because we do ATL, hold back to the regular schedule program.
Thank you so much, Mike Bell, baby. We're back to the versus battles here on Petty Sports, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight it is going to be a return specialist showdown fiasco, whatever you want to call it. We got Deion Sanders. We got Devin Hester. We got a return specialist battle here, and we want you to call in. We want you to vote in the comments. We want you to tell us who actually won between Deion Sanders, between Devin Hester. It is absolutely going to be a great versus battle tonight. We are going to get these rolling out on YouTube for y'all eventually. We just got to cut them up right. Kind of had a little bit of a system lag with this crazy segment here, but we know you guys love it. We know it's a lot of fun, and we'll go ahead and get it rolling. I believe you have Deion's videos first, G. If not, we can roll with Devin, whatever you got over there.
We're starting off with Deion Sanders.
There we go. I didn't know what order you had it in. Yeah, there you go. Whatever you've got it in, really, you can just roll it all the way through. I just did like one lower third for you on this one to just kind of make it better. So people are going to see, and, they're going to vote either way. Didn't really think we needed numbers at this point.
34-year-old Deion Sanders. I mean, there's not much more to say. 34 years old. I went down the line and told y'all how corners are out of the league by 31 years old. Deion was that good.
Yeah.
Went to another team, which this was his fourth team at that point.
I didn't even know he played for Washington.
He went from Atlanta to San Francisco to Dallas, then to Washington, and he also played for the Ravens. I didn't take any Ravens highlights because we're doing returns. Otherwise, I would have went there too. But have you ever seen a 34-year-old kick return specialist still getting it in like that?
Right.
And this was in overtime, mind you. This was for the game.
Right.
He took that bad boy right into the 10-yard line.
He made everybody pucker real quick.
Kicked the field goal. And because they didn't have those soft new overtime rules, they kicked the field goal and they won the game right off of this play.
That's what makes that work.
Absolutely. Deion damn near took it to the house. Still got the speed. He's still prime time. Still neon Deion. He damn near high-stepped him. It's crazy when somebody been playing for that long and still doing it, and he's still running away from people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Gotta love Deion.
Got to pay homage to Deion.
Definitely that guy. He said before they got these new soft overtime rules, they kicked the field goal to win it. Yeah, man. These overtime rules are, I don't know. Again, it's a double-edged sword. Do you want to see professionals get a fair chance, or do you just want to tell them to suck it up and, hey, you had 60 minutes to figure it out, and now we're going to sort through it as well. All right, Devin Hester, number 5, or the first Devin Hester you got up there, whichever one it is. So the reason I love this play so much is he goes on the inside of two people, just absolutely stepping on the inside of folks. I mean, Devin Hester he might have had the nastiest open field speed, and just his cutbacks were nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. It's just a slight cut to the inside, whether he's close to you, whether he's far from you, whether it's an average distance from you, and he's just going to absolutely take it to the house. When I was watching these highlights today, man, picking them out, I'm just like, I really forgot how this dude absolutely blazed through the open field. I mean, there was no catching Devin Hester at all. I think there was a return he had as a rookie, and he blazed. I swear he got from the 50 to the 30 in like a second and a half. It was absolutely insane. We know what Devin Hester is, though. Great return, man. Again, the major highlight of this one here is just the two nasty inside steps, because he's clearly got two guys to beat, and he disposes of both men fairly easy. Finish him to the house. Goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, hop in the comments. Let us know what you think.
Oh, yeah. Y'all place y'all votes. Do y'all like the Hester highlights or the Deion Sanders highlights better? Who's winning this versus battle right here?
Versus.
We got the next Deion Sanders highlight ready to roll. Stops, reverses field, runs backwards, breaks a tackle, all the way around the other side, high steps, right through, 20-yard line. He's still got people around him. He's giving you the Deion.
There's
it's
only
the
one
flair.
prime, baby.
That's what he do. You can't take him out. The dude too fast. I don't think we've ever seen Deion Sanders run full speed. He gets next to you and he high steps and look at you like you can't catch me. I mean, it's crazy the way he plays with NFL caliber talent.
Yep.
These dudes are running as fast as they can run. He's like, hey, I got you.
Look at him just high stepping.
Hard, bro.
Like, he's always he's trotting.
Like, yeah, literally towards the end of this run
when
here.
your feet are that high out in front of you,
Yeah.
there's no way you're
Look at
running
that,
full
like from
speed
right
anymore.
there the whole way, from like the 25 to the end zone. He's just a high stepping the whole way. Kicks it down to like 65%. Was like, I'm cruising.
No, man, you see a guy reverse field or run backwards, you're like, oh my God, this idiot just lost us 10 yards. Like, no,
Right.
I'm going to take it to the house. I just need to go this way.
Right. There's only one prime, baby.
And then he play with you.
There's only one prime. Man, it was truly a blessing. You know, I might be 24 years old, born in 1997, but it's truly a blessing to be able to come in on the part of the NFL that I did, because I started watching in 04, and like first Madden I played, Ray Lewis was the cover, Michael Vick was really big, and you know, like seeing kind of coming in, you know, towards the end of the Deion days and Charles Woodson, and watching Devin Hester trade teams and Tony Gonzalez. I mean, just watching all these legends is
I hate to do this to you, but
absolutely great. What do you got? You gonna crush me with some sort of age joke?
2004 Madden cover was Mike Vick.
Excuse me, 2005 was the first Madden I ever played with Ray Lewis as the cover. 2004 because the Maddens come out the year before. Yes, you are correct on that. 2004 was Mike Vick. That was back when the friend said, "Hey, bro, you can't take the Falcons." That is absolutely too much.
I remember that vividly. 04 Madden was Vick.
Yeah, sure was. Followed up by Ray Lewis on 05. All right.
I'm like, I don't even know the years of most of them, but that one I'm like, no, that was Vick.
Devin Hester with a kick 6 here. Taking it out of the end zone. Not playing any sort of games. And it looks so easy.
Those 2 steps, I mean, I figure he actually probably should have been ruled down because he took so long to come out the end zone.
Yeah.
I don't even think this was actually a touchdown.
He said, I don't even think this is actually a touchdown.
He walking like a roll, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's down.
Yeah. Man. Devin Hester just taking it the whole distance. The fact that he traversed the field that fast is what gets me. Plus, it's a kick 6 as well. I mean, we saw one of these with the Jags and the Cardinals earlier this year. Absolutely nuts. So,
I mean, you know, that's made famous by the Auburn on Alabama.
of course.
That's
Auburn's going to win the football game. That is one of the most iconic moments in sports. Devin Hester, kick 6, 110 yards casually. No big deal. To the house.
Oh, yeah.
To the house.
You're looking at Devin's speed. What you're about to see now is pure, unadulterated speed from Deion. He's going to find a crease, take off, one cut, out of there. Might be one of the first times you ever saw him. He ran full speed for a second. And then he just put the hand behind the head like, ha, got him. Look at this. The camera can't even keep up with him.
Yeah.
The footage is blurry because he was running so damn fast. That's why he had to change the angle. Then he just put his head behind him. Always got to put the ball up in the air. Make sure you see it. I got the candy. They call me prime time.
They call that taunting now. You can't even do that no more.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that anymore either. They took the ball back at the 25-yard line.
Hell no.
Like, you hurt Chicago's feelings. 10-yard penalty. Weak first down. But no, he didn't play in the era where they was soft and worried about everybody's feelings and all of that. He take off, and when he get away from you, then he do his prime time thing. See how he left them? Damn.
There's only one prime, baby.
Only one.
Only one prime. Devin Hester, another return. Pop up here on the screen soon. Just the blazing speed here from Hester. It's the fact that he dropped it, had to pick it up, maneuvered through everybody, and then just absolutely takes off through the field. Had to beat him around the edge also. Shrugs off plenty of people. Just an overall tough return. I mean, having to go back, having to scoop it up. It's on a punt as well, so you know that the, not the hands team, but the kicking team, their coverage is already going to be kind of getting towards you, especially if you have to fumble and then walk backwards. And then he just picks it up and takes off, shrugs off another tackle, eats another tackle as he goes to the end zone, and another return from Devin Hester. 19 in total. Excuse me, not 19. I believe 20 in total for his career. Was it 22? 23? I'm not mistaken. Or if I'm not mistaken, let me see.
He's got the most.
Right. 20.
He said in Atlanta, didn't he?
Yep. The Windy City Flyer.
Yeah, he
most
set the
combined
he
special
set the record
returns.
in Atlanta, and he did the Deion high step and to pay homage to him. But since you gave us a punt return where he fumbled the ball and broke a few tackles, I got to give you one from Deion where he did it better. Fumbled the ball.
On the MLB field, baby.
Broke one. Broke two.
ATL.
Oh, that's another one. That's 3 tackles. Oh, shake him. Fourth guy, get off me.
Nobody ran like Deion back in the day, bro.
Speed.
Just look at that.
Speed. There we go.
Man, he looking at him.
Hit the turbo on him. And let me just take you all the way back.
Nobody ran like Deion.
This
back
was
then,
Deion
bro.
Sanders' first game as a professional.
This was?
Dropped the ball, broke 2 tackles, shake him. Oh, get off me. Get your hand off me.
Big ass shoulder pad.
I know, man.
That lets you know how long ago it was. This was in 1989.
Look at that. Look at that.
He told everyone on the return team that he would buy them either new Rolexes or give them a fat stack of cash if he scored a touchdown. He looked out for the blocking team. But that's how cold he knew he was. He just looked at 24 like, bruh, I'm in there.
Damn, bro.
This was the birth of Deion. Get off me. Only Deion could drop the ball, then break 2 tackles, run backwards, reverse the field, shake him. Here we go. Get off me. You too slow. Can't do it. Now I'm going to turn on the burners. Out of here. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Hey, that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, celebrating in his face.
He was 5 yards
That was the old
behind
school
him,
version of the
and
Tyreek
then
Hill
ran
peace
away.
sign.
Yeah, that was exactly what Tyreek did. Like,
That's crazy that he didn't go down on that second tackle right there either.
bro was 5 yards ahead of him. He looked at him like, peace out.
They touched him like he playing flag football or something.
That's a
Ooh.
flag right there hanging off the left side.
Deion Sanders, insane
get it.
return. I'll make this Devin Hester clip the last one for us. We'll just do 4 instead of 5. We definitely need a solid 19 to 20 minutes to hit the NFC South postseason wrap up here. We've got Devin Hester, just absolute blazing speed. This is one of the clips I was talking about. Just look how he absolutely blazes across the field. I want to say this might have went. Was this when he broke the record? No, he
No,
broke the
he
record
did it
with
as
St.
a
Louis.
Falcon.
Yeah, he did it as a Falcon, excuse me. Yeah, just the one-cut speed. Just, I don't know if anybody in the NFL rivals that speed. I mean, obviously, Deion up there as well with the battle that we're having, but just the insane, boom, literally one cut, that's it. That's it. Just give him a gap. Absolutely gone. It's tunnel vision after that point. Absolute tunnel vision after that point. Ladies and gentlemen, hop in the comments. Let us know what you think about the VERZUZ battle. Again, we'll get them rolling out on YouTube. We'll get more feedback from y'all. You'll let us know what you think about them. But in the meantime, we've got about 18 minutes here.
We got to give him that last killer Deion run back. He got to show it at least one time.
He said, come on,
This
Adam.
one
You
here
know
is
I
a
got to
killer.
secure the victory.
Yep. Went in, jump cut, take off, high step from the 50. Oh, he's not high stepping from the 50. Oh, my God. You talk about speed. He don't even know what running full speed
He's
is.
high stepping from the 50.
He started high stepping from the 50. He wasn't even past the defense yet. Do you see this? Let's go. I'm gonna go this way. Here we go. Jump cut. Now let me jump back inside. Oh, you know what? I scored. High step. I'm a high step from the 50. From the 50. He's leaving people. Did you see him accelerating past him while he was high
I
stepping?
can't with you, Fees.
Jesus.
It's so disrespectful that he high stepped at the 50-yard line.
You ain't never seen nobody high
He
step
is
50 yards.
leaving dudes in the dust. Oh, my God.
He's running away from him, and he wasn't even running anymore. He was high stepping.
Oh, whatever. Screw it, G. I guess roll the last Hester clip if you got it. If not, we'll roll on to the NFC South. Man, we're just going to eat up all the returns here. Just Devin Hester again. Okay, this was the one where he's just blazing down the side of the field yet again. Just absolutely cutting in, cutting around, cutting through everybody. Geez, man. Fees, your last highlight was great. High stepping from the 50.
You can't be high
The
stepping from the 50.
disrespect and the speed you have to high step from the 50-yard line is absolutely ridiculous to me. What a versus battle, ladies and gentlemen. Deion Jones, not Deion Jones. Let me not disrespect him like that. Deion Sanders, Devin Hester. Hop in the comments. Let us know who won, why we won, how we got it.
It's prime time.
Let's go ahead and roll on into the NFC South postseason wrap up. Of course, we got Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Carolina. We talk about our preseason predictions, hand out grades, and then give the biggest needs that these teams shall be seeking walking into the 2023 NFL season. We'll start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fees, how'd you feel about them before the season? What is their grade, and what do they need the most?
Coming into the season, I had the Tampa Bay Bucks going 16-1, back-to-back Super Bowls. It really didn't seem like there was anybody in the league that nobody wanted that smoke with them. But they fell a little short. They went to the NFC Championship game, lost to the hands of Matt Stafford's late game heroics, which we didn't think he actually had in him. So, I mean, that was a testament to Matt. But as far as Tampa, they got as close as they could have gotten to the promised land. I mean, they did finish at 13-4, so they had a very good season. Wasn't what I had them at. But overall, I'm going to give them a B just because they didn't reach their goal. I mean, like, you get judged by a very high bar when you win the Super Bowl and you're coming back for a repeat season. So anything short of repeating, I can't give you an A. If you didn't get there, like you didn't even actually make it there. So I can't give them an A just because of how well they did the season before. But a B is not a knock or a bad thing. That means the expectation was through the roof. As far as what they need next season, I mean, I think they need Rob Gronkowski to sign back. Brait is back. They've got Leonard Fournette back. Gio Bernard is back. Chris Godwin is back. So, I mean, the offensive side, they're pretty good over there. I mean, they brought in a Russell Gage to have an extra guy. Pretty sure Scotty Miller is going to get a lot more work this year because Brady really likes him. And the rookie, I can't think of his name, but the rookie wide receiver.
Tyler Johnson?
Yeah. Like he
had the catch against New Orleans.
He really actually seemed to take a liking to him. So he's got a plethora of wide receivers to throw to. No issues over there. I think the only thing Tampa really needs to work on is just some depth. Definitely a running back because it does look like Ronald Jones is on his way out of there. He hasn't signed anywhere, but he's probably not coming back. Get another running back. Maybe work on just some depth on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary. But as outside of that, they don't really have a lot of weaknesses.
Agreed, man. Totally agreed. Tampa Bay is definitely a hell of a team, and now with Brady coming out of retirement, we'll just truly see who they are in this moment going forward. So I said for Tampa Bay walking in that I thought that they would be looking to repeat. Of course, they brought back all 11, which was insane, and it really showed that they were going for the repeat at that time. The fans expected Tom Brady to be even better than he was in the Super Bowl year. I thought this was going to be a 13-15 win team. They win the division, and they go to the NFC title game, of course. I am going to give Tampa Bay an A for their efforts this season, though, because they did undergo a secondary that was extremely injured. They did have some injuries overall throughout the season as well that hampered them. And when you look at the fact that the defense was a major part of why they were able to perform the way that they did in the time of the Super Bowl season, the defense, the secondary, the linebackers, the pass rush definitely had a lot to do with that. And I know you could maybe stoop to a B, B+, or maybe even B- grade, just somewhere in the B scale for the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I do have to stick with an A because they did win 13 games. They did win the division. And they, of course, they were Super Bowl contenders for all of the season. There was no question about that. Now we talk about the biggest needs for Tampa Bay. I think a running back, since Rojo signed with KC, and I actually didn't learn that until a few hours ago. I saw that Ronald Jones was not on their depth chart anymore with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I do think they should bring in another running back next to Leonard Fournette to be able to help him out because we know that, obviously they're going to be airing the ball out, but for them to be able to run the ball and have that balance, not put Brady on that pressure pedestal as an older quarterback would be nice. Of course, re-sign Rob Gronkowski. I don't see again why he would play for anywhere but Tampa Bay at that point. And go get another corner as well. I was mentioning a Stephon Gilmore. Maybe go get a Tyrann Mathieu. Go get someone else to actually help out within that secondary. Because again, we know that Tampa is good in the secondary, but they could be better. That is one of their weaknesses, even though so ironically, it's a strong unit for them, but it is still one of their weaknesses as well. Let's move on to the New Orleans Saints. Fees, preseason take, grade, and biggest need.
Man, the Saints I completely whiffed on. Preseason, I predicted them I had them at 6-11. 6-11, no Drew Brees. It was supposed to be a rebuild year. Everyone focusing in on Alvin Kamara. There's no Michael Thomas. But I mean, they ended up 9-8. I really feel like they overachieved in the aftermath of Brees and with limited weapons. The defense stepped up. They had a very strong season considering how much they actually lost coming into this year. My grade for the Saints, I'm going to give them an A-. I mean, I had zero expectations for that team to be as good as it was. They damn near made the playoffs. I mean, they very well easily could have walked their way in there. I don't see any reason for them to regress now coming in with a Jameis Winston. So, I mean, as far as their biggest needs, I mean, they have lots of needs.
Appreciate that, guys.
We know Kamara's coming back. They need weapons on the outside. They need plenty of wide receivers. Because, I mean, you must just assume that Michael Thomas is probably not going to play. We don't know if he's hurt, if he's back healthy, or if he's waiting to get traded because he wants to go to a place where he feels like he can win a championship. But we've seen that with multiple wide receivers and star players when they've cashed out on a team, they're just done. So it's like, hey, don't even worry about him. You need to replace him and multiple other wide receivers, and they need to actually start to rebuild a depleted defense because they've been losing stars left and right. I mean, subsequently, they've been able to
Malcolm Jenkins just retired today.
Fill the holes, but they need pieces on defense. They need corners and safeties, especially in a league where we're looking at the entire AFC loading up on wide receivers with really good quarterback play. You're going to need to be able to slow down an aerial attack. You need offensive line, pass rushers. All the focus really should be on defense. Get Jameis a little something, but the heavy focus needs to be on defense.
Heard on that, man. Yeah, New Orleans definitely has underwent a rebuild, reboot, retool, whatever you want to call it, the last few years. It's definitely been, last season. And walking into this one as well, had more players leave.
9-8 is a hell of a rebuild.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's, I feel like it's a rebuild because you look at the roster and there's nobody. Like, there's no question that there is no one on New Orleans outside of Alvin Kamara. And, when Michael Thomas comes back, I don't think it's going to be an if, just a when. There's been reports all off-season and stuff that they've been working to bring him back in the building. So I think the Saints are going to be able to resolve that. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints, though, and how I felt about my team in the preseason. So, of course, I expected Jameis Winston to win the starting job, and I did think it was going to be a rough start to the season as well due to losing key players like Drew Brees, Emmanuel Sanders, Janoris Jenkins, of course, and it could have taken potentially half the season to find their identity. I mean, when they were 5-2 and Jameis got hurt against the Bucs, you could just now say that the Saints are maybe kind of getting into their groove. They obviously were 5-2, so they were one of the better teams in the NFL at that time. Take it for what you will, 7-8 weeks into the season, but it took a minute to figure out who the New Orleans Saints were. And I also said that the draft picks needed to absolutely perform to an impeccable level because I thought the New Orleans Saints had one of the worst drafts in the league. It left the roster kind of barren as well. And just the Saints didn't really go after that corner like they should have, didn't go after that wide receiver early enough that they should have. You literally have no one else outside of Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, and Emmanuel Sanders leave, and you're drafting a wide receiver in the 7th round. That just kind of sums up the New Orleans Saints draft process. Now, I am going to give them a B. I know I could have given them an A, somewhere in the A scale for sure, but I've given them for years past before, those great grades. We've seen what the Saints have done, set the record in the NFL for having the best record over 4 years and not having any Super Bowl appearances to show for that. Just knowing that the draft picks, I totally just lost my train of thought. So sorry. I'm just checking the time and boom, thoughts out the window. But anyways, the draft picks needed to perform. The Saints didn't really have that great of a draft. I thought we would be about an 11-win team with maybe a 2nd to 3rd place in the division. Did give the New Orleans Saints a B for the grade because we saw how they performed. And even though the talent took a step off, I did choose to obviously, stick with the B scale there because they were a good team, but I do think that they could have maybe performed better, but they could have had more talent as well. So I got to be fair with the New Orleans Saints here. As far as their biggest needs, I know they got Jameis in the house, but a franchise quarterback would be nice to bring in. It could be a couple of years before they get to that. A wide receiver, too, definitely. Someone to assist Michael Thomas. Might even need a wide receiver 1. I know we've got Traquan Smith, of course, Marquez Callaway, guys of that nature out there. We don't know what Mark Ingram's going to be. Definitely want someone next to Alvin Kamara so I could see another running back in the house as well. And then secondary, whether it's another linebacker, whether it's another corner, whether it's another safety. I would go pass rush as well, but the Saints consistently know how to stop the run and obviously sack the quarterback. Let's go on to the Atlanta Falcons, Fees. Tell me about them.
Atlanta Falcons, my preseason prediction was 7-10. And guess what they went? 7-10. And subsequently, when I gave you the breakdown, when our expectations versus reality for the Atlanta Falcons, I told you every single game that they would win and lose to a T. I was 100% right on every team they would beat and every team they would lose to, and down there to their record all the way to the number. I'm giving them a C because they were status quo. They were exactly what I thought they were. They were a decent team. They did not exceed expectations, but they didn't underachieve either. They had an okay year. As far as their needs, I mean, you've got Marcus Mariota. He's definitely a bridge gap quarterback. There's no way that they're looking at Mariota for the future. They need to get a young quarterback that they can go ahead and sit behind Mariota to go ahead and groom him, figure something out. But in the interim, while Mariota is your quarterback, you're going to need to beef up the running back position. If you want to actually have any success with Mariota, Olsen is not your guy. You're going to need to bring in it's like a real bell cow running back to sit behind him. And clearly you got to do something at the wide receiver position. I mean, you've got Kyle Pitts, but there's no more Calvin Ridley. Gage is gone. So, I mean, they're depleted on the outside. So the Falcons got a lot of work to do in the draft. I mean, I hope for their sake that they make good picks this year because they do need a lot. And we didn't even get to the defense, so they need some of everything.
Yeah, I highly agree. There's no doubt about that. Atlanta is one of those teams that's got a lot of needs right now. I said in the preseason that the fans would want Kyle Pitts and, of course, Calvin Ridley to be able to replace Julio Jones, and not taking a quarterback at number 4 for the Atlanta Falcons at that time. Matt Ryan had to be worth it. Now, whether he was or wasn't, I still think he was the good quarterback like he usually is. Not great, not spectacular, but, not taking the quarterback at number 4 and then taking the tight end. Now Matt Ryan is out the window. So who's going to throw to that tight end that you just drafted at number 4? Yes, Mariota potentially. Well, he will be obviously probably be a top target. Will be the top target for Marcus Mariota. But it's obviously not going to be to the effect of Matt Ryan. And I was asking myself, what is the defense going to be? What is this Atlanta Falcons defense going to be? We've seen it fall short for them multiple times in the past. That's the reason that even if they can score 30 or 35, they're going to give up 40 to 45. And that's why this Falcons team can never actually get above the hump. Winning 9 to 10 games overall. Got to give them a C+ grade here because this is really what the Falcons have been after the Super Bowl. I usually can judge an NFL team for the last 3 to 5 years of the franchise. Is kind of the status that they're on now. So definitely staying at that C+ grade. In terms of Atlanta's biggest needs, I hate to go this route, but they kind of do need everything, unfortunately. Franchise quarterback, running back, wide receiver, trenches, secondary. Atlanta's in the full rebuild. They admitted it. They've lost 4 of their best players within the last couple of seasons, and that is what they will be up against. Just a couple minutes here, Fees. Carolina Panthers, let me know what you think about them before we get out of here.
Carolina Panthers, I'm giving them an F on the season. Predicted them 7-10. They went 5-12. Actually, the 2 games that they lost was because I gave them 2 wins over the NFC South, and they lost all 4 games against that division. They were just, all in all, a bad football team. The Sam Darnold project did not work out. I thought that he would be better with him back in the fold for another season. I don't really see any bright spot for him. As far as what they need another quarterback. They need a reliable running back. They should have traded Christian McCaffrey quite some time ago. They have an okay wide receiving core, but Sam Darnold hasn't proven to be the guy that can throw to him. They need work on defense. Just like the Falcons, they need some of everything, but they're actually in worse shape.
Worse shape than the Falcons, you think?
They are.
Heard on that. We got to run. So let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. They definitely expected Christian McCaffrey to have a major comeback season. J.C. Horn being the 8th overall pick, needed to step up and be huge. Unfortunately, he did break his foot earlier in the year playing against the Texans, and we haven't seen him since. But they did, I thought that they should have made strides to find the franchise quarterback. There was a lot of the Sam Darnold hype. He played great for 3 weeks. It was never anything after that. Again, Darnold was wildly inconsistent. I thought that this was going to be a 4th-place team, and they were a 4th-place team. Gave them an F as well. What good can you say about the Carolina Panthers season? They have all the talent. They even got a kind of a reputable coach in there, even though he was a rookie. Sam Darnold is literally the major piece of them falling short. You could have had a Deshaun Watson, maybe even a Matt Ryan in there. They're kind of like a Colts, but in a position that the Colts were in, a position that the Vikings are right now. I understand the money that the Vikings are paying Kirk Cousins, but he's not worth that. He's not holding up to that for them. And in terms of biggest needs, get him a healthy RB1 in there. Love Christian McCaffrey. Think he's great, but he hasn't been healthy. Go find someone. You got Chuba Hubbard. Maybe make Chuba the 1, bring in a number 2. Keep Chuba at the 2, bring in a 1. Whatever you have to do to resolve that running back room. And again, making an advancement on a franchise QB. It's kind of funny. All 3 teams, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Carolina, all need franchise quarterbacks. If you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're probably a number 1 pick contender. If you have a franchise quarterback, you're probably a Super Bowl contender. But you already know that, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps up tonight's episode of Petty Sports. It was great. It's 10 o'clock. You already know. Social media, everywhere you can find us. Thank you for hopping in the comments. Call the show next week. We'll be back. Fees, take us out of here, man.
Hey, appreciate y'all for coming out. We love the comments every week, every Wednesday. It's Petty Sports, y'all, and we out.